world. சாப்பாடு நம்ம ஸ்டைல், ஷூட்டிங் இதுக்கெல்லாம் சிகரம் கிரிக்கெட் நம்ம கிட்ட.
A very good afternoon to everyone gathered here. We are much privileged in welcoming Mr. Mathew Hayden, the popular Australian cricketer from the land of Don Bradman, and the other dignitaries on the stage, off the stage, and every sport enthusiast gathered here.
Hayden once very sincerely said, "I've seen God. He bats at number 4 for India in Test." He's right. For us also, Sachin is a cricketing god. The words of Hayden show how across borders sportspersons admire each other in real sportsmanship without any reservations. For us, Hayden is our hero today. And to begin this interactive session, let us begin in a formal note with a prayer.
அழகான பழனி மலை ஆண்டவா, உன்னை அனுதினமும் காண வந்தேன் வேலவா. அழகான பழனி மலை ஆண்டவா, உன்னை அனுதினமும் காண வந்தேன் வேலவா. வள்ளிமயில் நாதனே, காவடி வேலனே, வரவேண்டும் மயில் மீது முருகையனே, வரவேண்டும் மயில் மீது முருகையனே. முருகா 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 முருகா. அழகான பழனி மலை ஆண்டவா, உன்னை அனுதினமும் காண வந்தேன் வேலவா. நல்லதெல்லாம் என்னை நாடி பெருகிட நல்லருள் செய்வாய், தீயதெல்லாம் உடன் தீர்ந்து கருகிட திருவருள் புரிவாய். துணையன்றி வேறில்லை தெய்வம் கந்தையா, உலகாளும் ஆண்டவனே நீதானையா, உலகாளும் ஆண்டவனே நீதானையா. முருகா 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 முருகா.
Please be seated. Here at the Velammal group of institutions, we encourage all-round development of every student. Our students are given ample opportunities to participate in sports activities in addition to curricular and extracurricular activities. Some of the well-known personalities who have visited and inspired our Velammal institutions include VVS Lakshman, Virendra Sehwag, Rahul Dravid, Lakshmipati Balaji, legendary captain Kapil Dev, Master Blaster Sachin Tendulkar, and now it's spa hitter Mathew Hayden from the land of Don Bradman.
Honoring the dignitaries has been a fond tradition. As a token of our love and gratitude, I now request our Honorable Vice Chairman to honor Mr. Mathew Hayden for his gracious presence. Thank you, sir. Mr. Mathew Hayden from Queensland of Australia is a former cricketer who was a powerful, aggressive left-handed opening batsman known for his ability to score quickly at both Test and One-Day innings. Hayden holds the record for the highest score made by an Australian batsman in Test with a massive 380. He was the most overtly disciplined batsman in the Australian team. He secured 1,000 test runs for 5 consecutive years, which were the heart of his test career. He has played 66 tests from 2001 to 2005 and made 6,366 runs. He is known for his front foot play, peculiar sweep shot, which is a bliss to watch. Mathew Hayden played for the Chennai Super Kings in the inaugural Indian Premier League (IPL) in April 2008. Hayden became one of the foremost players in the league, and in 2009 won the Orange Cap as the season's highest run scorer with 572. Such is the greatness of Mathew Hayden. May I now invite you, Mathew Hayden, to deliver a brief speech and also interact with the students. Please, Mr. Mathew.
Hello. Thank you both. It takes a lot of courage to stand in front of a massive audience like this. I'm not sure I've seen a bigger school group, without any doubt I haven't. Thank you, our honoured guests and principal, for this lovely... I'm not sure whether I could make some curries out of this Hardiman. I don't know if it looks any good, but it certainly smells very good, that's for sure. Just wait for our guests to get out of the way here for a second. Do I do this properly? Please, thank you. There you go. You know, I was thinking before I was going to address you today of some of the areas that I wanted to talk about in my brief address. One of those, for certain, though, was when you look at players and you look at any industry leaders, the word great comes up, and it's an incredibly humbling experience to be acknowledged anywhere near the greats of the game of cricket. I just wanted to take you back, though, to 1971. I was born on a very small country property. My dad was a peanut farmer, and that was our summer and winter crop. And my mother was a speech and drama teacher, and she had her letters in music and speech and drama. So we came from a particularly strong theatrical and musical background. And I guess in a lot of ways that perhaps set me up to be on a stage of life. And from those really humble background, can you imagine all I wanted to do for 16 years was to work alongside my father, to grow crops, to live on the land. And our land, like this land, is a remarkably beautiful country, full of diversity, full of wide open spaces. I'll never forget my first simple address with Rahul Dravid was at the Gabba. And if you look up to someone, please look up to someone like Rahul Dravid. I think he's a magnificent character. But I said to him, Rahul, how are you enjoying our country? And he said, oh, I love Australia. It's magnificent. I said, yeah, but tell me what you miss about home. And he says, well, I miss the affection of my people. And I think when you come to a country like India where there's 1.4, 1.5 billion people, you have such an abundance and richness and diverse culture that's worth celebrating. The colours, the smells, the touches, the feel of the place is magnificent. When you're in our country, I can walk 16 kilometres on a beach and not see one person. And the wide open spaces, I have 3 children. I just took my 3 children and beautiful wife Kelly out to the middle of our country, out to a place called Ayers Rock or Uluru. And it's a huge rock that stands in the middle of nothing. It's wide open spaces. For as far as the eye can see, there's just little shrubs and red desert. But it reminded me of the humility of life. The fact is that we came from nothing, and so too shall we return to nothing. And so if you take that simple thought and apply it across your life, I think it's a magnificent gesture to mankind. Doesn't matter what race or what religion that you study, it's a simple but powerful message that just being in the moment and being a part of life in the second is overwhelmingly good. I mean, to see you guys out there is really a very special and very sacred thing for me as an individual. From this really humble background in country Kingaroy, I never thought it would be possible to walk on the global stages of sport. And as I just mentioned, if it wasn't really for my mother, and hands up those that are here because of their mother and father, they're probably begging you to come to college. But you know what? It's great that you've listened, because like my mum and dad, I didn't want to go necessarily to a big school to finish my education, and I did really well in my studies and then went on to study a business degree. But the reality of what that was that it was from those backgrounds and this unimaginable landscape that I learnt some of my greatest lessons. On a sporting field, sport is a wonderful dean of faculty. And when I say that, I mean that with open heart. There's some really challenging times that you guys are going to go through, both in your graduate and postgraduate courses. But you learn your best lessons in life when it becomes the most difficult. And international cricket, for me, wasn't an easy road. I was knocked back and rejected more times than what I succeeded. And I'll never forget actually talking to Suresh Raina, who is a champion, obviously, when I was playing with CSK. And he said, "Hey, Dos, I just want to be like you in every way. I want to score 30 test match hundreds. I want to play over 100 test matches. And I just want, you know, my life to be like yours." And I said, "Look, Suresh, that's a big call, because you've got to remember in life that you're going to fail a lot more than you actually succeed. And so my advice to you, Suresh, is this. When someone else is having a good day, make sure that you acknowledge that day, because sooner rather than later, it's going to be your day, and people will in return acknowledge you in that moment as well." And that's almost a cycle of life, isn't it? Your good days don't have to be too high, and your low days don't have to be too low. It's through the grace of God and through your support of the people around you directly and indirectly that influence your life significantly. And if you can share in the success, if you can live in the success of the college and the scholastic way of life, and you can celebrate each other's success, I think it's a fantastic milestone, and it's something which, if you can take anything away from my presentation today, I want you to understand that that's something which I've learnt in my life through the form of professional sport. So what else have I learnt? Well, I've learnt that there is an I in team. I think if you come from the basis of pleasing yourself, and my simple mantra, if you like, is to make your vacation your vocation. So if you love what you do, and you put all your heart, all your mind, and all your might into achieving it, anything is possible. But first, it has to be true to you. It has to be what I call the purpose of your life. And the purpose of my life, which I never realised growing up in a small country town, was firstly to entertain people through cricket, and secondly, to give back and to enjoy giving back to people that all over the world that have so much potential, so much to give, and so little understanding of how it is at your ages, how it is that you're going to piecemeal together this life and bit by bit build the blocks to your life that enable you to be great. Now, great doesn't have to be Sachin Tendulkar great. Great just has to be your great. So I encourage you to find your purpose, find your vacation, if you like, whether that be a spiritual vacation or journey like the one that I've had down here today, or whether that be a part of your professional vacation, almost vocation, I encourage you to give everything that you've got to it and be prepared to actually have some bumps along the way. Have a journey where it's not just all sailing high. Every champion in life has struggle. Do you believe that? Lots of struggle. And it's in that struggle, as I mentioned before, that the most growth comes. It's like stretching a muscle. At first, it's irritating. And then all of a sudden, when you give away to that muscle, it lengthens and it improves, and its function becomes much better than what it was before you actually arrived at the stretch. And so too is your own journey in life. To stretch your own selves beyond your imagination. The best feeling in life, bar none, is achieving things that you never thought were possible. Never even reached out to think that were possible, but through just committing to the process of getting better every day, not bitter, better every day, and applying yourself, to whatever it is that you want to do in life, I can assure you that you do get there. I want to talk briefly about my life beyond the sporting field, because I would have thought cricket was maybe 20% of my life. I've spoken about my mum and my dad and my brother Gary. I've only got one brother. Equally, he was very good at sport and studied at university and qualified to be a teacher, and also a human movement study. So he had his vocation set on exercise and physiology and those sort of areas of sports management, which weren't even really created up until the early 90s. I want to talk about my three beautiful kids that every day drive me to be a better man and a better person. My daughter is 14. Her name is Grace. And that name really says it all. Grace is a wonderful word. She's also a very nice little athlete, and she, like you guys, is struggling just to every day get a little bit better. And I'm very proud of her. I've got two sons, Joshua and Thomas. Joshua is 11 and Thomas, who is 9. And don't worry, they also don't mind playing cricket. So we might be able to have another little Hayden that gets an opportunity to play cricket. But like me, they have to find their own journey in life. And each one of them have got really special parts to their personality and special parts to their character. Joshua, for example, he absolutely loves to talk. I'm sure if my son was up here, he'd be sitting here right now and he'd be cueing Dad to say different things. My youngest, Thomas, loves to fish. And he's such a quiet little boy, because I think Joshua does all the talking. But that's my family. That's what keeps me on track and on purpose in my life. And family is such a big part of your growth and development in life. Well, we all agree that you have many types of family. You have your cricketing family, for me. You guys have your direct family, but you also have your college family as well. And it's in that family that you understand the importance of core values of your community. Discipline, hard work, honesty, respect, integrity, all wonderful words which mean nothing until you put them into action. And I can tell that you, as a college community, are people of action. People not just of words, but people that want to dedicate their life to the degree of excellence. And it's with that passion that I can assure you you'll grow to be the best you possibly can. On a final note, I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to come from the other side of the world. When? Yesterday. The world is such a small place. I travelled through the night. I left home at 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. And here I am after flying pretty much halfway around the world, addressing you as a community of of educated individuals, and it feels amazing. So my lesson is one of integration and communal spirit. The fact that I played with Chennai Super Kings makes me feel like I actually am in my second home. And can you believe that you too can also, with globalisation, you too can travel to all parts of the world and have home away from home. To have Mummy G's cooking, to have the ability to be able to form communities in different parts of the world. These are all wonderful lessons that you'll find throughout the course of your life. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to see you today and to being a part of your life and being a part of your community.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew. Students are now invited to ask questions to Mr. Hayden. Please ask your questions from your place and a mic would be provided to you.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. I'm
Hi.
Deepak. How did you feel when you scored your first international century?
Yes, I might stand up if you don't. Okay, I feel a bit looser now. I felt too formal behind that. How did I feel? Well, I think, firstly, I felt an amazing achievement. An amazing achievement insofar as it... Sorry, I have to get behind the pulpit again. I was 22 at the time, might have been 23, and I guess I grew up not being able to watch cricket, but only being able to listen to cricket. Now, you can't believe since 1999 the World Wide Web came along. Can you believe that? And it changed the way that we interact as a people forever. And just casting my mind back to, how I learnt about our great game of cricket, I'd actually sneak up to my father's shed, and he had 3 tractors in the shed. And the one tractor, which was about a 35 horsepower tractor, had a small transistor radio on the side of it. And it was in the middle of the night, and Australia was playing England, the old arch enemy. And we were listening to ABC Test Match Special, was the name of the show. I think it was hosted by maybe Henry Blowfield or one of those doyens of cricket broadcast. And he was describing the colour of the game with such precision and such magic that inside me a dream was born. At that very moment, on a dusty floor, and we have this, in Kingaroy, my hometown, we have this red, almost maroon red, like that colour, red soil. And it gets everywhere, in your ears, on your skin, under your fingernails, but it felt good. And so it was in that shed with dusty feet that I learnt to understand our great game. So can you imagine, 15, 20 years ahead of constantly being broken and then fixing it and then breaking it again to try and be the best that you could. And as an Australian cricketer, I not only had to be the best in Australia, I had to be the best in the world, because I had some great champions that I had to beat. Guys like Michael Slater and Mark Taylor, guys that have been there a long time, and I had to be better than them, which meant that I was the best player in the world, in my opinion. So it felt magic. It felt like my family was a part of that journey, and it felt like the people from my little town and my extended state were all a part of that journey as well. It was a magic feeling, and thanks for the question.
And thanks. And can I have one more request? Can I take a snap with you?
Yes, of course. It's not like we've got many photographers or anything.
Mr. Hayden, sir, who is your favorite player in present Indian cricket team and why?
In the Indian cricket team, yeah?
Yes.
Ooh. Well, Virat Kohli. You know, at first I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about Virat Kohli at first. In terms of, he was a very different Indian cricketing personality. And I chose those words very carefully, didn't I? But when I mean different in a really good way. Because I think that to break free of such a fantastic era of cricket, a really dominant area of Indian cricket, talking about Kumble and Rahul Dravid and Sachin Tendulkar and Sourav Ganguly and VVS Laxman, I mean, the names just kept on rolling off in that era, and they were formidable opposition and wonderful players and wonderful human beings as well. And I think to break free of that, India needed to do different well, if that makes sense. It needed to arrive out of the Tendulkar era and firmly plant its feet in its new culture, and it was established with MS Dhoni. And I think MS, as humble as he is, he would never acknowledge this, but it's really a remarkable effort that he got a young Virat Kohli, got a young Suresh Raina, got a Rohit Sharma to the stage and started to make them perform like they were capable of doing. And I think it's a great lesson around leadership and what that takes. And if I can quote Steve Waugh, he said to me one time whilst we were in India, and we're all grizzling about this and that, the heat, you know, whatever that was going on at the time. He said, if your attitude was contagious, is yours worth catching? And I think that was, you know, a very poignant moment in leadership from Stephen. And I've heard MS describe simple things like that particularly well. Just the simple things that actually make you a better person and a better player. And that was MS. And I think that's what Virat Kohli is so good now, because he's stamped his mark on it. And I have no doubt that he will go down as one of the greats of our game.
Thank you, sir. Sir, do you mind if I get a photo, please?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Om Prakash, working in this institution. I am a faculty. I would like to ask one question technically. Only a few cricketers can adapt and change their game plan according to the different formats of game. That's why you are close to our heart. So, what about your game strategy and game plan when you opened with Justin Langer in Test and Adam Gilchrist in One-Day International Cricket? So, tell about that.
Yeah, I think you're talking of an issue of change, and I guess as athletes, you become master of change and master of adaptability. And I think, you know, in your own educational lives, I think everything is changing so quickly, isn't it? So you really have to be masters of your own destiny, and you have to be prepared to do one thing. There's a saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, it's not my saying. It actually came about in '77 during the Carter era of presidency in the United States of America. And it was around about the focus. He was budget and business manager, and he believed he could save a lot of taxpayers' money based on the fact that if you concentrate on the areas that aren't broken and do it better, rather than break it and cost people a lot of money. But I disagree with that. I think if it ain't broke, break it. If you want to be the best, if your DNA is to be the best, you've got to actually want to analyse and break things down to a point. And that's what I did, with someone like Justin Langer or, as you said, Adam Gilchrist. You could never stay still at the crease because every ball was a different event. And even though you might have had, 300 events to make 100, you had to adapt and you had to improvise over every one of those moments. Look at how brave.
Mr. Hayden,
Yes.
in the upcoming Tamil Nadu Premier League, the first match is between Chennai Super Gillies and Madurai Super Giants. Whom do you think you will be supporting?
That's a loaded question if I've ever heard one. You're expecting an answer too, aren't you? I'm going for you guys, of course. Why not?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you were using a very tiny bat using in the IPL when you batted for Chennai Super Kings. So what was the secret behind that? How did you manage? Even you hit too many sixes with that tiny bat. So what was the secret behind that?
I've been asked a lot about this over the last days. The mongoose bat they're talking about. You know what I really love is innovation. And I guess from my mind, the game does need innovation. It does need to be flexible and be open to change. But the mongoose bat was, it was something that was really special because it was different. And it was a club face. That's what I used it for anyway.
A very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm Niveta, belonging to first year IT department. I first want to thank our management for arranging this golden opportunity.
My
I feel
pleasure.
really very happy to meet you in this special occasion.
Thank
so
you.
I have a question. What are your views about our Indian culture?
Yes. Well, that's a very complicated question. For a very complicated culture, I would say. And I mean that in an extremely positive way. Well, firstly, there's not too many countries which, even if I just look at one angle to that question, which is the angle of food, something which naturally I'm passionate about. There's not too many countries where you get such a diverse range of cuisine. And I think that really pretty much says it all, whether it be influences from the north, from Turkey and that particular area, or whether it's from the southern areas where we are here now. It's remarkable just how different it is when you travel around. But you do have a lot in common, and I think that one thing is your remarkable tolerance for each other. I think as a people and as a nation, the one thing that I've never felt here is an anxiety around even being in large numbers. And I think that that infinite patience that comes through living a life in India is something which I really admire about you as a people. Not to mention your industrious way of life. You never see Indian people resting. The place is happening 24/7, and that's a very special quality as well, your work ethic.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
First of all, I'm a biggest fan, sir. And I like your muscular power and strength.
Thank you.
And sir, I want to thank you for saying Chennai as your second hometown. And I want to hear few words in Tamil from you.
Few. Welcome. Welcome. Maguji, is that it? No, it's terrible. No, I don't have too many words in Tamil, unfortunately. But, you know, that's a whole other life. You know, for me, to be a part of a cricketing community, it felt amazing. And I think, do you know why I'm, you know, in the area again? Is that something that you've been told about? Who knows about the Tamil Nadu Premier League? A few people? Well, it's on, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity for not CSK, but for people of regions like here that have their own team to be able to, you know, play in the IPL. We're here to really spot some new talent. You know, it could be one of you guys out there that's going to be the next CSK Warrior, and that's why it's so special. You know, regional cricket, I've explained why I grew up in regional Australia and how important it was for me to be identified, and that's what the Tamil Nadu Premier League is going to do as well. It's going to identify new talent. It's going to challenge the game as well, especially Test cricket, because I think we all know how much Test cricket means to us as a people, but we also love the shorter versions of the game as well.
Sir, please come.
Sir, a very last question about our captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He's we've read about him. He's a really great captain, they say. But according to a player, you just describe how his captainship is as you worked under him for a few years.
Thank you. Yeah, MS Dhoni. One of my favourite memories of MS Dhoni is actually in Chennai Harbour. We went out in a boat, and there was myself and about 4 other boys as well, and we're all bomb diving off the side of the boat in Chennai Harbour, and that really says it all about MS. He's a very childish, very playful, but extremely humble human being. And, you know, he was like a lot of the leaders that I played under over many years. They never actually ask anything of you that they're not prepared to do themselves. And I think that was a great lesson of his leadership. He would bowl balls, he would wicket keep, he would have fun. You know, he was just a wonderful character. And it was a pleasure to have played underneath him.
Are you really feeling comfortable in our dress?
I am. I'm feeling very comfortable in this. I suppose you read it. It's very cool. It doesn't show too much leg. Feeling very comfortable.
Thank you, sir.
Just going to have a little selfie moment with you, okay? So when I hold my hand up, can you all stand up and just wave your hand? Just one sec. Okay, thank you very much.
Students, please assemble in your seats. With that question, we come to the concluding part of this interactive program. We are indeed grateful to management for surprising us with the visit of Mr. Mathew Hayden, whose presence has inspired us. May I now request you all to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाहे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Please be seated.